Hello, everyone, and welcome to Frenn Diagram. This is the podcast where two friends catch up and find common ground between their favorite media. I'm Remy.
I'm Kat, and today we will be discussing our Frenn favorite, Jeff Nichols' The Bikeriders. Warning, spoilers ahead.
Hi, Kat.
Hi, Remy. How was your trip back to Pennsylvania?
It was great. I went and attended the baby shower for my brother and sister-in-law, and I saw a bunch of my family and a bunch of their friends, and we had a good time despite the heat wave. And Will went with me, and It was just like a nice time spending time with him and with my family, because it's been a minute since he's been able to see them, and it was really pleasant.
That's lovely.
How was your trip up north?
It was good. It was rainy a lot of the time.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It rained like 60% of our visit, which is fine.
Did you still get to swim in the lake?
I did, yeah. The first day it was like 80 and beautiful, and I was like, we got to get in that water. I have to be in there, and we like took the boat out, and then everyone else stayed on the boat except for me and Scott, because I made him come in the water so that I wouldn't drown myself on accident. And yeah, I saw a cool dock spider on the boat while I was in the water. It was like, there's like a little hole on the side of the boat, and it had like kind of curved its body into the hole in a really cool way. And I was like,
wow.
I didn't know spiders' bodies could move like that, but that's fun.
Remember when you and me and Will and Scott were on the boat with Scott's parents and that massive spider was there? And Scott's mom freaked out? That was amazing.
Oh, fuck no. And then she just smashed it.
Yeah, because she couldn't see it for forever, but as soon as she saw it, it got serious.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great trip, and getting away for a couple of days felt really nice. We went to that on one of our rainy days. We went to Twice Sold Tales, which is up in Farmington,
the bookstore.
Maine.
Yay!
I highly recommend that if you're ever in that area, because it's such a cute place. The dog wasn't there.
I was just going to ask, was the dog there?
But the same guy was there that was working the counter when we went.
Cool
and I was
guy.
like, oh, I missed the dog. And he was like, oh, she was in the morning. And I was like,
okay.
Dang
well,
it.
At least she's well.
I know. I'm glad that she's well. But yeah, I got a new book. I got a new book called That Quail, Robert. And I was like,
what?
It's a whole book about this quail named Robert. And
oh my God. Okay.
He's orphaned. And so this lady like hatches his egg, and then he becomes like completely scared of all wildlife and like just wants to live in this lady's house. And he like goes and greets people at the door. I'm very excited to read it. It sounds adorable.
Quails are like wicked cute. That is true.
Yeah, I saw some pheasants while we were up in that area too. Just on like the side of the highway. I was like, oh, guys, pheasants. Pretty cool. But yeah, it was nice. Good to see family. Good to get out of Jersey for a little bit and see some nature. There were tons of loons. Just so many loons on the lake.
Love those guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely, upon returning to work on Monday, had that feeling that you often get over winter break, where you're like, what kind of life am I living where I gotta work 9 to 5? This is pretty fucked up, if you ask me.
Yeah, my week's been like kind of all thrown off, because we had a guest staying with us and that went to Maine with us, and so they left on Tuesday morning, but like life is still very frazzled. Like the house is a mess, so I can't wait to clean this weekend. But yeah, I don't want to be doing work at all.
No,
it's been a slog. I saw that flash in your environment.
There's a huge storm happening right now, and you saw the reflection of the lightning flash on me. Because I'm facing the windows. Oh, yeah.
Crazy. It's gonna get going. So if you hear thunder in the background, that's just a little additional treat. A little additional ASMR treat for you.
Consider this your calm app to check in for the night. The other day, I was leading a meeting at work, and one of my colleagues messaged me on the side, and she's like, you could work for the Calm app. And I was like, what? She's like, your presentation style is just so soothing. I was like,
gosh.
it's like the nicest thing anyone's ever said about my presentation style. Thank you.
Wow, that's such a compliment.
Yeah, I know. Especially because I'm like usually a nervous presenter, but I don't know.
I feel like you're so well practiced when you present, though, that you kind of like give people a sense of calm. I know exactly what they're talking about.
That's so funny. Hopefully the power doesn't go out.
Yeah. Oof. That would be tragic because we've had such good fluff.
Well, yeah. And there's more fluff, actually, I need to tell you urgently. We need to speak about the Nosferatu trailer.
Oh, yeah. Wow. That's a wild trailer. I'm glad you sent it to me. Did you see that before Bikeriders?
I did. Oh my god. Kat, I was so jealous when you got to see Bikeriders during the mystery screening, but then I heard the news that only over the weekend the Nosferatu trailer would be debuting in front of the Bikeriders. I was like, oh, it was destined for me to see it on the weekend then. It was written, man.
Yeah. Oh my god. What a treat. What a treat to get to see the Bikeriders in... Well, I guess I can save that. But wow, what a treat.
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, I'm stoked. I've watched the Nosferatu trailer probably like 10 times now.
It looks amazing.
It goes crazy in the movie theater. You got it. I hope it's in front of all of our next films.
Yeah, I hope
this summer.
It's excellent. We've got to make a movie date soon. What's the next big thing coming out?
That you are interested in? I don't know. I don't think you're not caught up to see Maxine yet, are you? But you could be if you wanted to.
I don't have to watch Pearl, right?
No,
I've seen X.
Is fine. So. Oh yeah, you've seen X. That's right.
So I'm ready.
And then Longlegs. That's really the Super Bowl of the summer. That's July 12th.
Oh yeah, that would be good. So
that's right after I get back from a trip.
Okay.
Actually, not right after. Soon after I get back from a trip. Longlegs is so high on the list.
Yeah, I'd be down to go see that.
So many disturbing reports about that film. I can't wait. Corey and I were talking about it constantly and
really?
how scary it's going to be. Yeah.
Does he really like horror?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. I told him about it way, way back when just like that 8-second teaser and like the posters were available. And so he's been tracking the coverage and he's like, everyone says this film's a nightmare.
That's awesome. I can't wait to go see it.
And then it's Twisters after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to make it out to New York soon because I've got to give you such sharp teeth and a new gift that I have acquired for you. But it isn't here yet, so it needs a couple of weeks to get here. It was a gift that I ordered for myself, and I was like, oh, Remy would also like this, so I ordered a second one.
I cannot wait to find out what that is.
Yeah. So stay tuned on the pod for the gift reveal. But yeah, so should we start our discussion of Bikeriders?
Yeah, let's talk about the Bikeriders.
Oh my god, so good. I was shocked. I was shooketh. I was melancholy for an entire 24 hours after seeing this film.
Oh, no.
Not in a bad way. Just in like a contemplative, thinking about it kind of a way. Because it like really stuck with me. It was powerful. It was moving. If you don't know, Bikeriders is the 2024 film directed by Jeff Nichols and starring Austin Butler, Tom Hardy, and Jodie Comer. And it essentially tells the story of a fictional biker gang in Chicago in the 1960s. It's inspired by true events, but it's like the actual gang itself is a fictional representation. And it is based on the book The Bikeriders, which is kind of a collection of photography by Danny Lyon. Okay. I was like, Dan something. And you've been telling me about this film for quite a while now.
For ages.
Because it was supposed to be released in 2023, and it wasn't. And it got shifted to 2024 for release. And was it worth the wait?
Oh, it's definitely worth the wait. Yeah. I absolutely loved it. I mean, I was really psyched about this because I'm a big Jeff Nichols fan. I love his films. I think he's a really interesting filmmaker. And I also love his ongoing relationships with actors, particularly Michael Shannon, of course. Yes. And I just thought this sounded like an amazing pairing and a really cool story for Jeff Nichols to tell. I think he's really good at telling stories about men in particular. And so a movie about a motorcycle club seemed extremely well suited for Jeff. And so, yeah, I've been just very excited about this for a while. And I was really excited when Focus Features picked it up for distribution. And I had an awesome time. I went with Will on a Friday night, and the theater was full. And it was a rousing screening. Everyone was actually, absolutely locked in. Lots of laughs, lots of reactions. It was a great time.
Yeah. Did Will like it?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we both loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott liked it as well. We went to the mystery showing, which was kind of a fun crowd to see it with because we kind of had these guys in the back of the theater that were hooting and hollering and really reacting to the film. And I was loving it. I had a great time listening to them react to it. There were lots of gasps. It wasn't a full theater because it's a mystery movie, but it was pretty full. And yeah, I really enjoyed seeing it in the theater. I would highly recommend that. I think seeing it with a crowd is very enjoyable because it has a good sense of humor about it, and it has kind of shock factor moments that I think crowd reactions are kind of fun with. Yeah,
absolutely. Do you want to kind of go back and forth about the things we really enjoyed about it, or do you want to run through your list and I'll see if there's anything I had that you didn't touch on?
Let's just go back and forth on it.
Okay.
I think that makes the most sense. Do you want to get us started?
Yeah, let's see. So, I mean, it's kind of two things in one. I think the performances overall in the film were absolutely incredible, but the three leads, Tom Hardy, Jodie Comer, and Austin Butler, were particularly good. This is the best I've seen Tom Hardy be in a long time. So maybe good. Since Dunkirk. Who knows?
I'm obsessed.
He was so good. He was so well suited for this role. Incredible. And they were all excellent. All the supporting cast was excellent. Incredible character acting going on there. And I think what really stood out to me and what really set this movie apart from being one-dimensional was the fact that Jodie Comer's character, Kathy, her narrative is the framework of the film. So the overall structure is that Danny Lyon, played by Mike Feist, is interviewing Jodie Comer's character, Kathy, in retrospect about her experience with the motorcycle club and the guys in the club. And she's our inroad to the story. And to me, that added dimension, and it also added an accessible element for us less masculine people, I guess you could say. And so I actually thought the framing was incredible, and that to me goes hand in hand with Jodie Comer's performance, which I thought was excellent.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the performances were a bulk of my notes about this film. I really thought it was just stunning to see such a fantastic ensemble of players making a movie together. I really liked that Austin Butler's performance is very understated and subtle. I thought you can see him observing situations and kind of doing calculations in his head, what's going on here. And he's just very thoughtful and very quiet, but very expressive on his face.
Yeah, he does a lot with little dialogue.
So good. I think the chemistry in the scene where he meets Jodie Comer for the first time is electric. It is so slow paced and sexy. It's beautiful.
I love that whole sequence where she first meets him. She goes to their bar, their main hangout bar for the first time. That entire sequence told from her perspective is so funny.
I love when she keeps saying, like, I'm gonna leave. I gotta get out of here.
It was so funny.
Oh my gosh. So good. Jodie Comer, the fucking work she did to make this character, and like the accent, and hearing, like, she had like pieces of audio from the original interviews that she was working with to really perfect that accent, because it's not just like a typical Chicago accent. It is like very distinct. And I thought she totally nailed it. She did such a good job.
You're the expert.
The accents in this film are just fantastic in general. I love Tom Hardy's accent. Really good, really entertaining. And I loved Tom Hardy as Johnny. Like, I think that for me, that was like the performance that like kind of shook me the most throughout the entire film. And I would kind of peg him as like, when I look at that film, he's the main character to me. And I really enjoyed watching his story play out. And it like definitely left me thinking about him more than any other part of the film.
Yeah, I agree. I think his character made the biggest impact on me as well. And his performance made the biggest impact on me as well. And there were so many unexpected elements to his character. Like, he obviously looks the part of a guy that can be running a motorcycle club, and he can act with that sort of like masculine bravado. He's very well adept at that, but there were just elements of Johnny as a character that I was totally caught off guard by. Like, there's like really funny things that he did, and very thoughtful things that he did, and very strategic things that he did. And I mean, the scene where they show the impetus for him wanting to start the club, I found hilarious and endearing. Yeah, because he was basically just watching TV. He was watching The Wild One on TV and was like, I should start a motorcycle club. Yeah, and that's just what happens. And I thought Johnny, I agree. I thought he was an incredible character and definitely held the center of the film in an essential way.
Yeah. And then the last performance that I thought was really standout, I've never seen this person in anything, but you have. Toby Wallace as like that kid. What the fuck?
What the fuck, guy?
So I've never been so like unsettled by a performance ever. Like, every moment he was on screen, I like had my skin crawling. I feel like this is what you must feel when you think about the Skarsgård that you don't like. But holy shit, I did not enjoy. I mean, I enjoyed his performance. I thought he was incredible.
Oh, he's excellent.
But I was very unsettled by that character. And he deserves so many props, because I don't think I've ever been made to feel that way on screen. You know? Yeah,
he was excellent. And particularly the scene where we get insight into his home life it was crushing. Yeah. Essentially.
I mean, I was so scared during that scene. Like, his mom's like reaction to everything in that scene was like, truly.
I know, like, I almost don't know how to describe it. It was kind of emotionally jarring for me, even though there was many emotions that I felt throughout the film. That scene, I was just like, wow, I feel like I've been kind of like punched in the stomach.
That scene and the party scene, like at like with the red dress.
That party scene was very effective.
I like, okay, yeah. So this leads into like my first big thing that I wanted to touch on, was that the film nails tension in so many different ways. Like, there's tension, kind of like silly, goofy tension, like trying to diffuse the situation with the other club from Indiana at the picnic. That's like kind of goofy tension. Then there's like, it's not like unsettling tension, but there's like the tension between Johnny and Benny throughout the film, like especially that scene that's like lit by firelight.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I love that scene. But then there's the like really overt and violent tension throughout the film. So we were just talking about Toby Wallace's character and his relationship with his family, but then there's also like a really upsetting party scene where Jodie Comer's acting just is intense and really, really fantastic. She did an awesome job. And there's the tension of like the scene in the trailer where he's like, you'd have to kill me to get this jacket off of me. Like it just like it nails every tense scene that it tries to tackle. And man, I like left me speechless. I was like, this is just so good. I'm so engaged. My mind is not wandering at all. I'm like fixated on every second happening on the screen.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jeff Nichols is excellent at various shades of tension. You and I were talking a little bit about his filmography before we started recording, and you were talking about how you want to watch Mud, and I definitely think you should. There's really good types of tension in that movie, but I think if that's an element of his work that you're interested in, I think you should perhaps accept the challenge of watching Take Shelter, which I think is his best film, and has some of the most intense work from Michael Shannon ever put to screen.
Wow. Yeah, and Michael Shannon was incredible in this as
well.
Was
incredible. I loved his monologue around the campfire about how the army wouldn't take him. I thought that was incredibly well acted, but also an important scene for understanding a core aspect of the film, which is that while these guys in the club are forming this community that they care about very much, they care about it so strongly because they fundamentally feel like outsiders in every other context in their lives. They feel like outcasts from society, outcasts from their family, outcasts in their community, and this motorcycle club is the one place where they actually belong and they actually feel accepted, and that's why tensions are riding so high so often, because they care very deeply about this club. And
Johnny cares very deeply about all of them.
Yes.
Which I love that aspect of Johnny. Yeah. Oh, I was listening to Jodie Comer and Austin Butler talk about working with Michael Shannon, and I guess on their first day of filming, they had that like scene around the fire where Michael Shannon was doing his monologue. And from then on, their like mantra was, what would Michael Shannon do?
Oh my god.
It was just the cutest thing. Because they like admired him so much and they were so excited to be working with him, and like getting to see him work was very exciting for them. And they were like, it was like a master class to like watch him do the next take and see what he would change. And
that's apparently so heartening to hear. I love that.
I know. Apparently Tom Hardy like leaned over and was like, it doesn't get any better than that. I was like,
fuck yeah, guys.
So cute.
This is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was really cute.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. What a cool dude.
What a cool dude.
Oh, and we didn't talk about Norman Reedus. He was hilarious.
Yes.
That guy, adore him. So funny.
He was so funny. He was excellent. Can I please tell you about my favorite side guy, though?
Yes, please.
Like, despite all of these incredible characters, I have to tell you, every single time Cockroach said something, I lost my mind, because every time they cut to him, like the first 3 times, he's like, yeah, I eat bugs. Sometimes I eat bugs, yeah, okay. And he just is talking about eating bugs.
Yeah.
I was just dying. There was something about The dialogue they gave to Cockroach, that absolutely killed me.
That actor did such a good job. Oh my god.
Such a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
He was awesome. I was looking at his IMDb page because I knew I was going to talk about him on the pod, and I was looking at some of his other credits, and I had to run out to the other room before we started to tell Will that he was one of the teens in The Place Beyond the Pines, and he has a line of dialogue in that film that we still say to each other.
Whoa.
All the time. It's like when he goes like, "Whoa, that's your dad." And so, I don't know why, but it's just one of those lines that you hold on to and you repeat for no reason. He has one of those, and I was like, oh my god, Will, can you believe Cockroach is the "whoa, that's your dad" guy from The Place Beyond the Pines? So yeah, he's pretty storied in our household, and I didn't even know it until today.
Yeah. Yeah, just an incredible cast.
Mm-hmm.
It also had Boyd Holbrook in it. And he was... I remember him most recently because I watched him in The Sandman, and he was really good in that. He was the main antagonist in The Sandman. Oh. He's just causing chaos, getting up to trouble. Mm-hmm. It was great. I loved it.
I like him.
I really like him. And apparently he was also in the old film adaptation of Stephenie Meyer's The Host, which I also just recently watched because I'm in my trash era still. And he was pretty good in that too. So
I like Boyd.
Yeah. And he was great in this. I loved him in this.
Yeah, he was really good.
Oh man. Yeah. Everyone was so good. I even really liked Mike Feist's character.
Me too.
It was very subtle because he's like interviewing all these people. Mm-hmm. But he like has a presence on screen that you like don't forget that he's there, you know? I feel like you could easily just not even include that character and have him off camera. But I loved watching his like reactions to things that she was saying, Kathy was saying. He's like really good at that kind of acting.
He's wonderful. You gotta watch Challengers.
I do.
I know there's a mental block, but I really encourage you to watch it.
Oh, yeah. Let me know when it starts streaming if you catch the stream date, but...
Yeah, it's definitely on PVOD right now, but I don't believe it's been acquired by anyone yet. No, or is it on MGM Plus? Ooh, it could be that. That's like the one that no one has.
No one wants it. Sorry, you're gonna have to...
Sorry, MGM.
I'd rather give them my money directly than pay for you. Unless you'd like to sponsor our show and give me my subscription for free, then I'll delete this part of the podcast.
Yes.
Am I extorting them, technically?
I was just kind of wondering. I was like, is this a threat?
This is not a threat. Okay. I think it's your turn to tell me what you liked.
Oh, you know what I really liked?
What'd you really like?
The fucking costumes, man. There were some great get-ups in this film.
So good. I want a jean jacket
so bad.
Yeah. Also, I loved that during the credits, they show some of the photography.
Yes.
That the characters' costumes are based on. And when you see Kathy, the real Kathy, you're like, whoa, they nailed that hairstyle.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane. Like,
yeah. I'm
so
glad
good.
you brought that up because I also saw some of the photos from the original book from Danny Lyons, and then in retrospect was like, oh, that entire pose that Austin Butler was doing was a recreation of a photo from the book, or a bunch of other things. And I was like, that's so cool that they recreated those iconic photos. That's awesome. I love that they took the time to incorporate them.
Another aspect of that, I was listening to interviews, but they sent some of those photos of Benny specifically to a tattoo artist, and they recreated his actual tattoos that they could see in the pictures.
Oh, cool.
So Benny's tattoos are like the real, as close to the real ones as you can get, which is so, what attention to detail. What a cool idea. Oh my gosh. I love that. And I love that there are just like tattoo artists that are out there doing stuff for movies and like making temporary tattoos and stuff. That's so cool.
Yeah.
What a cool job to have. But yeah, the costumes were amazing, especially Norman Reedus's. It's like so grimy, grungy, vibey. I'm super into it. And I liked his glasses that he was wearing. This is like such a small thing, but the scene where Benny is riding his bike through the cornfields, that just gives me so much nostalgia for the Midwest. Like,
I was gonna ask you, do you feel a special, like, emotional connection to this film because you're from Illinois?
I think I would definitely feel more of an emotional connection if I, like, had grown up in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'd love to have my mom watch this film and, like, hear what she thinks about it, because she was growing up in Chicago in the late 60s, early 70s.
She's got to see it.
I know. I was telling her about it today, and I'd be so curious to kind of hear what she thinks of the way that they portrayed Chicago and what it was like at that time, you know? But I mean, there's like a warm, fuzzy place in my heart for anything that's centered in Chicago or the suburbs or Illinois in general. Anything that has farmland in it, I'm very partial to. And that scene just like kind of got my heart racing, because I was like, I think you can see like a silo in the background. And I was like, this just makes me think of starting to ride bikes with Scott, like back when I started grad school, and we would go like riding kind of like down towards Dan's farm, and we would just like ride around for an hour or two and just go through the farmland. So yeah, it's very nostalgic for me. Other great Heartland vibes are like the 90s Stand miniseries. Highly recommend that. But even like The Bear, I love the Chicago representation there, and how they're like talking about Naperville and places like that I've been to. I think it matters because I'm so used to watching media that's designed for a coast, like movies in California or movies in New York, and it's nice to see the Midwest getting representation.
Oh yeah, I get stoked whenever something from my home area is mentioned anywhere. I was actually just reading Zone 1 by Colson Whitehead, which is set in New York City, so it was cool like hearing him describe a bunch of places where I walk around, but then there was a special mention of Lancaster as one person's origin point for when everything went down in this book, and I was like, oh my god, he's talking about Lancaster. I love it.
I love that. Wow, that's funny that you said that. I was reading an academic paper today, and I like have been listening to my academic papers, and one of them was like Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I was like, what? And it was like contact info, but I was like, for why?
Oh, weird.
I don't know. Something was in Lancaster.
I wonder if it's published by some people at Franklin and Marshall College or something.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
Anyway.
We've devolved. Sorry.
Those were all of my major things about the film. And then I have like another thought about Jeff Nichols once we're done with our things that we loved. Yeah.
My only other thing was I wanted to ask if you have a favorite non-spoilery scene or a favorite like piece of imagery from the film. Like what kind of, when you think about the film, what sticks out to you the most visually?
I mean, I would say, I think the costumes, honestly, the leather jackets, the cut-off sleeves, that's what I think about the most. The patches on the jackets, that sticks in my mind the most. And in terms of scenes, I would say definitely Michael Shannon's monologue around the campfire, but also just Kathy's first time at the bar.
Yeah.
I was, as soon as that happens very early on in the film, my spirits were so high because I found it so funny, but a perfect entry point to all of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
But the humor that she brought to that scene was just incredible.
So
and
good.
I loved that we were introduced from a sort of incredulous viewpoint.
Yeah.
And something about that, it gave weight to everyone in the club
Mm-hmm.
as people we would have to work to understand.
Yeah.
While also endearing us to Kathy. And so I love that. I can't wait to rewatch this and just die at all of her reactions to things. She's so freaking funny,
so
man.
Good.
And when Austin Butler comes over and starts talking to her for the first time, her face.
Yeah.
She does so much
Oh
with
my
her
God.
face.
Yeah. I had a note that I forgot to even bring up that
Tell
in
me.
this scene, I love her, like, the timing of her facial expressions is incredible. So there are like multiple moments where she's just like got this like very serious face, and then she kind of breaks into like the tiniest little smirk. And I'm like, oh my God, the chemistry.
Yeah, she does
to
a lot.
Die for. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What about you?
It's that scene, but also the bike ride that comes right afterwards. I think that like when everyone like revs up their engines and they're like going down the bridge and it's all like lit up by their headlights, I had goosebumps up and down my arms. I just loved that scene. And yeah. And there's like almost like a slow motion shot on Jodie Comer's face where you're just like kind of seeing her love motorcycles for the first time and start to love this group of people. And I don't know. It was just really stunning. It was a stunningly shot scene and beautiful.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I was listening to an interview Jeff Nichols did with Sean Fennessy on The Big Picture, and he definitely put a lot of attention and care into trying to convey that feeling of what it's like to be riding amongst a huge pack of bikes like that, because that, I believe, must be a very singular feeling, and he wanted that to be conveyed properly. So yeah, I think he did an excellent job.
And I love that you could just like feel the revving of the engines when you're in the theater. It's so loud, and you can kind of feel the rumble, which I love. I wonder if this movie will make more people go buy motorcycles.
I hope so. It made me want to.
I don't think I'm brave enough, but there's like this cute little Harley model that I adore. And I was like, if I ever did ride bikes, that's the one I would want.
Yeah. I think I'd want a little cafe racer. I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah.
But we gotta build our own. like Cal would do. You know what else Jeff Nichols said in that interview on The Big Picture? He really, really wants to adapt Cormac McCarthy's final novels, The Passenger, and then the follow-up to that into film. And I think he might be the only person on Earth that could potentially do it.
Wow.
So I hope they let him do that, because I would be fascinated to see the way he translates that to screen. And I think I would feel like I understand it much better if I could see what Jeff Nichols thinks it's all about. I would readily welcome his help in understanding that story. But I think it's perfect for him, especially because a lot of it is set in New Orleans, and that's definitely an area he understands.
Cool.
Someone please let Jeff Nichols adapt The Passenger. Yeah,
I can't wait to watch more of his stuff. This is his only film that I've seen, but I loved it so much that I love when I like a director immediately, and I'm like, I've got to watch all of their stuff. Yeah.
And he just seems like a really cool guy.
He seems so genuine. I wonder where he's from, because he's giving a Midwestern vibe in like his essence.
His
essence.
Oh yeah, and that other thing, when you're talking about Toby Wallace and how I had seen him before.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to make sure people understood. I've seen him in the Royal Hotel, and everyone should watch the Royal Hotel, and that includes you, Kat.
Is he so scary though?
Well, I don't know. You just gotta watch it.
Scary? Because because now I don't want to.
No, he actually has a lot of charm in that movie.
Is he the guy that you said... there was a guy in the Frennies from the Royal Hotel.
No, that's a different guy.
Okay.
That's Teeth.
Teeth.
You're gonna love Teeth.
I do love Teeth. I love when people got them. I don't know. Yeah, where is he from?
Who, Jeff Nichols or Toby Wallace?
No, Jeff Nichols. Born in Little Rock, Arkansas, so kind of Midwest. Southern Midwest.
Right in the middle.
Yeah. Gosh. What a fantastic film. Like, go see it. I can't get it out of my head. I've just been, like, playing it on a loop. So
I think it's going to be incredibly rewatchable as well.
It was, like, it has the perfect balance of tension and, like, a good sense of humor. There's enough comic relief that it never feels too unbelievably heavy. Like, even when there's, like, a heavy scene, like, do you remember when Jodie Comer is, like, shaking the drink to drown out what Johnny's saying?
Yeah.
I liked that. I thought that was really clever and really funny. And I love when a film knows how to use those kinds of moments to break things up for me and not make it too heavy or too upsetting at any given time.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I agree. I loved the ride that we were on emotionally. I think the control and the tempo of the emotions we were run through was expert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, check it out, man. It's a big hell yeah from me. Big
hell yeah. Good music. It had like a really good 60s, 70s vibe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was kind of jamming out. I was liking it. But yeah, definitely go support this film in the theater. I think it deserves to be watched in a theater. And if you can't make it to the theater, keep an eye out for the streaming date, and we'll tell you when it starts streaming too. But
okay.
Also, if you need more convincing, I will be linking some YouTube videos of the initial bar scene where Jodie Comer and Benny, or Austin Butler, meet for the first time. And I've also got the scene where Benny is riding through the cornfields as well, if you want some visuals, just to get a little taste. But yeah, so check that out, and then I'll also link some of the podcast interviews that we enjoy where they were talking to Jeff Nichols. I will link the one from The Big Picture, and then we'll also link the one from Film Spotting. So
perfect.
Yeah, check out the episode notes for that. And yeah, email us when you realize how much you love the Bikeriders.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear from you.
Tell us your favorite side guy and why. Thanks for joining us this week on Frenn Diagram. Thank you to Tyler Seek for the creation of our intro and outro music. Did you take any of our recommendations? Have any thoughts on the show? Let us know at frienddiagrampod@gmail.com, and we might read your email on a future episode. If you can, please take a moment to rate and review the show on your podcast app of choice, and we'll see you back here, same place next week. Bye for now.